Everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech, and today I'm going to be taking a look at another smartwatch for iOS, Android, I guess anybody that wants a smartwatch or fitness related type watch. And now this is the VT3 Plus from a company called VIRMEE. That's VIRMEE. And I do have to thank VIRMEE for sending this over to the channel for honest review and unboxing and initial first look. I do appreciate that. So what do you get in the box here? You get the Tempo VT3 Plus watch, a USB cable, user manual. So this is kind of like the Apple Watch look or a Fitbit Versa type look from the watch itself. It does have 17 sport modes, silicone band. It has scientific sleep monitoring, so supposedly pretty accurate sleep monitoring, 7-day battery life, IP68 water resistance for using it in a swimming pool or things like that. Accurate heart rate monitoring, heart health tracking, comprehensive swim tracking. You can see messages, phone notifications, things like that. Personalized watch faces. It does do oxygen, blood oxygen as well, so SpO2. So all in all, has a fair amount of actual functionality. So what I'm going to do, take a look at this, unbox it. We'll look at the watch itself and kind of pair it to the phone and then go from there. So, open this up, VIRMEE. This is how it looks in the box. Take that out. So you do get a charger. So this is kind of like one of these magnetic type chargers. As you can see, kind of clips to the back of the smartwatch. Regular USB plug. You have a user manual. Kind of goes over how you navigate and set up the watch. And this is basically what it looks like. So as you can see, if you looked at this, it kind of resembles an Apple Watch, right? Even has a little side button that has a little red ring on it, kind of like the Apple Watch. That's what the back looks like. You can see the different sensors there. And this band, it's kind of a silicone band. Doesn't feel too bad. Pretty nice. It's got a little bit of a texture to it. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of this wavy texture. So I did turn it on. See if I can turn up the brightness a little bit. Okay, so I was able to turn the brightness up a little bit. So you can swipe up. Once the screen is on, you can kind of swipe up and swipe down. So you have your steps and some time information there. You can see some rings for your health rings, information around your calories, some heart information and things like that. You can swipe over one and you can see the sports modes, all the different things you can set from the sports perspective. And then you get into the menu where there's your SpO2, heart health, does breath training, stress analysis, has a stopwatch, a timer. You can have events in here, has a compass, settings. You can turn on smart tracking, do not disturb, set date, time, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to really quickly get the app. So the app is the VIRMEE app in the App Store. So we'll just go ahead and download that real quick. So once you do register, you have to go through and set your weight and some of these things. Set your goal weight, your steps, how many steps you want to do a day. So you set up your goals here, and then you want to pair the watch. Bluetooth is not available. What does that mean? Okay, so here we go. VIRMEE shows up. connecting. Okay, so it's connected, pair, allow. Okay, so it's connected and it shows it has 88% battery. Now what's interesting is this app actually looks a lot like a different app. So this thing actually looks like a lot like a different app I used for different smartwatch. I think it was the More Pro. I just did a video on it on the channel. The More Pro watch. It looks like it uses the same. It's kind of weird. Almost, it looks like the same company rebrands their app for different watchmakers, maybe. So something that I don't know. I will have to look at it, but this looks very similar to the other app in that the actual interface looks the same. The data, yeah, this is probably the same app. Interesting. Okay. But anyway, so okay, version update. Okay. So there is a firmware upgrade here available. So maybe I will go ahead and do the firmware update. So with this band, it's pretty long actually. So my wrists are pretty big, I guess. Generally speaking, I have big wrists and big hands, and I have plenty of room here. I just am not sure, like if you're a smaller person, there's obviously a bunch of holes, but then I don't know how far this band will go, will, you know, kind of stretch around if you have a like really small wrist. So if you have a small wrist, you might have to get a shorter band somehow. These are standard, I don't know, looks like 20 or 22 millimeter of spacing there. So you should be able to get a replacement band or a shorter band. But just something to note, if you have really small wrists, this band might be super long. Like I said, I have big wrists and it's still pretty long for me. You know, but overall it is pretty comfortable. And as you can see, there's little pins there, and you can take the watch band off easily. So right now this is upgrading, as you can see. I'll go ahead and let that upgrade. Okay, so that finally did restart. Now, one thing I don't know if you can see here, but the screen does not go fully to the edges of the actual bezels, right? So you can see there's a little bit, while the screen is pretty big, like the actual LCD, like I said, it doesn't quite go all the way to the edges, but it's pretty close. So it's, I mean, it does display quite a bit on the actual device screen. So that's nice. So I guess what I'm going to do here is just kind of go through. So as you can see here, there's a bunch of different settings for alarms and schedules. So you can set some alarms. You can set the sedentary reminder, so that will remind you, you know, to stand up every hour, or, you know, get up and move around. So you can turn on message notifications for, you know, different apps there. Oops. So that's that. There's an easy camera function, so you can use the So if you turn this on, you can use the watch to take a picture. So that may or may not be useful for you. So the date format, you can set that day, month, or month, day. Unit of measurement, the weather format, reminders for vibration. You can set for calls and alarm clock schedules. So you can kind of set the different vibration modes for those different events. Palming gestures. So if you put your hand over the screen, set the screen brightness time, what wrist you're wearing it on, your right or left, and then the firmware. And then you have your kind of profile, which has your goal settings, some information, you know, for your profile, and then the data. So again, not a ton of stuff in the app. Basically a data page, a device page, and a profile page. So what I'm going to have to do with this is basically kind of wear this for a few days, wear it to sleep, wear it during the day, so that I can get some data in here, and then I could show, I'll come back and kind of review the data that it captured and give some feedback on how accurate I think it may or may not be, and then basically kind of wrap up the review there. And yeah, so I guess we'll just have to see how that goes. But I will come back after I wear this for a few days and basically give you an update. So I think, though, there's only a few different screens on here, or a few different options for the watch face. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you have about 10 different watch faces that you can pick that have different complications, different sorts of data that show up on them. You can't add additional watch faces or anything like that, so it has what it has. But it has 10 different ones that you can pick from, so I'm sure you can find something that you like. So it does also do the wrist up to turn the screen on, except it doesn't. It wasn't doing it right there. Then you can also press the button on the side to kind of turn the screen on and off, as you can see. But again, I mean, aluminum casing. This is a gray, so it looks like kind of like the space gray aluminum Apple Watch, at least from a distance. It's a little bit, it's probably about the same thickness as an Apple Watch, I think. So like I said, looks kind of cool, looks pretty nice. So like I said, I'll wear this for a few days, and then I'll come back here and we can talk a little bit about my thoughts and finish up the review. Hey everybody, so I did wear this smartwatch for a few days, and I just wanted to go quickly over the data that's available in the app. And as you see here, there's two parts of the app, really. There's the data page and there's the device page. And I went over the device page. On the other, it's disconnected now because the battery's dead and I haven't charged it. But the data page has a few things at the top that you can get access to. So you can get access to the sit and stand. So, how often you stand up, how often you, during the day. Obviously, there's some calorie burning and steps. So if we look at steps and go back a couple days, and you'll see mostly this day, all these days, I was kind of at my desk for the most of the part of the day. So I was at my desk, I was kind of, up and about the house, that sort of thing. So you'll be able to see kind of your steps, and then you can flip to see the calories, and then see, how often you stood up and all of that. And then you can look below to get more details. So again, it has the steps, calories, how many times you stood up there, and then details about it, right? So you were walking, I took 151 steps, 203 steps, 258 steps, 60, So I was mostly, all these days, I didn't work out, which is probably a bad thing because I should have used this on, working out, but it's cold in Chicago. Didn't really want to go outside, so... but I'm just trying to show this. What you'll also see here is by default this data view is set to today. So it really just shows today. So I didn't have this on today, so everything's blank. But if you go into the sleep schedule, and you can kind of go back. And the thing is, some of these tables you can swipe on to go back and forth, and then others you can't. So like this one you cannot swipe. You have to use the drop down for the date. Anyway, so on the 8th of December, you can see it showed, REM sleep, awake, light sleep, deep sleep, all of that. Total sleep, deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep, and awake time. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But as you can see, now there's a little bit of goofiness here, like the awake piece, like, in the app, it bleeds over from one line to the other. So there's some quirky little things in the app itself that just you would think that they'd refine it and make it a little bit better. Doesn't deter from the actual application use, but some misspellings here and there and some stuff like that. To me, just kind of points to just fix that stuff. I'm not really sure why. Yeah, see, I don't know why it keeps doing that. Anyways, so again, so you can look at the details there, and I do think this is pretty accurate. If I look at this compared to Apple Watch or compared to Fitbit, I mean, I didn't necessarily compare it directly for these days because I didn't wear two devices, but this is typically what my sleep looks like when I do go to that, when I do sleep on the same schedule. To me, this seems, I don't know why I keep skipping out of this. To me, that it, like I said, it looks like it's correct. So then you can also do things like, as you sleep, you can do sleep evaluation. So sad, neutral, happy, really happy, excellent. So you just kind of keep track of, when you woke up, how did you feel? You can keep track of some things like, did you have coffee or tea before bedtime? Maybe track a few of that stuff. You had a stressful day, not in your bed, and, you worked late. All right, so you can just kind of keep track of that on the sleep schedule. So the one thing I had issues with on this is actually getting the heart rate to consistently track. So, I mean, it does show, average, lowest, highest, but for some reason in this display, it only shows 1 point. And I did have it set for automatic heart tracking, but in here it's not showing the data in this view. So I'm not really sure why, because I would assume that it was going to show my heart rate kind of throughout the day. And it's really weird because if you go to the heart health one, which is this other one, and you go to any of those days, it does show the scatter plot of the heart health. So it was tracking and it was doing the heart rate throughout the day, and it had enough data to do that scatter plot basically for all these days. This day I didn't wear it that long, but I did on basically Monday and on Tuesday. I mean, it did take heart rate measurements and stuff like that. It just didn't. It doesn't show up on the data thing, and I don't know why. As it goes for so blood oxygen level, so it does do that. So average, lowest, highest, and took a bunch of samplings throughout the day for that. So that does work as well. And then this pressure valve thing, which is basically stress value. So it's saying I have medium stress, 69. And that's basically calculated via heart rate variability. So when it's measuring your heart rate, then it does and comes up with these values. And again, like there's 1 for 12/6 and none for any other days. And there's no drop. So it's just weird. Like the navigation on each of these different screens is a little bit different, which makes it confusing to use this app. So I don't know. I mean, it's a basic app, like I said, but it's not, I would say it's not the best because it's got some quirkiness in actually navigating through the stuff. But overall, like I said, the device works well. I used it almost all week and didn't charge the battery. I mean, I wore it not all week, I guess. So 4 or 5 days in a row, and it still had some battery left. And that's with the 24-hour, supposedly the 24-hour heart rate and all that kind of stuff on, which when you turn it on, it does say it might reduce the battery life a little bit because it's going to be constantly measuring or more often measuring your heart rate and that sort of thing. But again, decent battery life as compared to other things that I've worn in the past. The only thing I do wish is the app was a little bit better in surfacing the data and surfacing actionable insights for you to use. The one thing that's good about it on an iOS device, it does integrate with Apple Health. So, any of this data does show up there. Even the sleep data does show up in Apple Health. So that's nice. But again, super basic app. Wish the app was better. And as I mentioned, I've seen this app in another device. And I can't remember which one it is now. I'll have to look. But one of the other devices, kind of these, fitness watches, uses this same sort of app with a different name. So like I said at the beginning, I think that some company must make this app and kind of white labels it with specific device vendors so that they don't have to write the application for the smartwatch or the fitness watch that they're building. Now, obviously it's not the best thing, because then that company doesn't have control over it. And as you can see, this thing is not the best just generally. So that's the one feedback I would have. I did like the watch. It was, comfortable, seemed to do pretty well. But I think some of the data in this app is a little quirky, and that's where I ran into the issues. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post those below, and I'll be sure to kind of respond if there's something I can respond to. I'll also link to this in the description if you want to look at this watch, at this fitness device. Check it out on Amazon. Check it out on a web link for the company. Again, this is Andrew from TS for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.